Alright, so I'm doing a belief tier list, and I want to be clear, I'm not ranking beliefs by whether they feel good. I'm ranking them by whether they actually make your life better or worse. Those are not the same thing. Starting with, I need to please people to be okay. This will be going into, you need help. And I want to explain why, because on the surface, this looks like a good trait. People call you kind, easygoing, low maintenance. But what's actually happening underneath is you've wired your sense of okayness to other people's reactions. That's not kindness. Remember that the long-term cost is real. When you keep saying yes when you mean no, resentment slowly builds up and eventually it poisons the relationship you were trying to protect in the first place. Resentment is basically just honesty that got delayed too long. You need help, dear. Next, I am smart. I'm putting this in mid-tier. And let me explain why it's not higher. There's a useful version of this belief where I am smart is basically a standard you hold yourself to. Like, you ask yourself, what would a smart person do in this situation? How would a smart person approach this efficiently? That's good because it pushes you. But there's another version where I am smart becomes an identity you have to protect. And once that happens, you stop asking questions because questions feel like admitting that you're not actually smart. You avoid things you're not immediately good at. You dismiss people too fast. The belief that was supposed to make you sharper starts making you more closed off instead. Being smart is useful. Needing to feel smart is the problem. Mid-tier. Next. I am a good person. I'm putting this in delusion tier. And I know that's going to annoy some people. But here's the issue. When goodness becomes your identity, you stop checking your behavior and start defending your identity. Instead of asking, did I do something wrong here? You start asking, how do I explain why I was still the good person in this situation? That's a completely different question and it leads somewhere bad. And look, if you've read even a little bit of history, you'd know that ordinary people are capable of genuinely horrifying things under the right circumstances. Most of them probably had some version of, I'm a reasonable person, I'm just doing what I have to do. The better belief isn't, I am a good person, it's, I am probably wrong about some things, I'm probably contributing to bad stuff in ways I can and can't see, and my job is to try to do less of that. That belief keeps you honest. I am a good person just makes you comfortable. Delusion tier. Next, we have, I am in control of my life. Very useful, but not supreme. And the reason matters. You do need this belief. A lot of people basically just drift. They wake up, react to whatever the day throws at them, complain, scroll, go to sleep, repeat. Believing you're in control pulls you out of that. It makes you plan, execute, reflect, ask what you can actually do differently. But there are moments in life where this belief becomes torture rather than fuel. When something real gets taken from you, let's say someone leaves, something fails in a way you can't undo, your body doesn't cooperate, the idea that you're in control stops being empowering and starts being a way to beat yourself up. So it's very useful most of the time, just not a belief you want to cling to in every situation. Very useful tier. Next, we have, I enjoy the process regardless of outcome. I'm putting this in supreme tier. It's not even close. If the only thing that feels good is the end result, then the majority of your life is going to feel like suffering because most of the time you're not at the finish line. You're in the middle, you're practicing, failing, adjusting, starting over, figuring things out. But if the engagement itself is rewarding, if the struggle is actually interesting to you, then you become really hard to beat. You can still want the outcome. You can still care about the results. I'm not saying pretend losing doesn't matter. I'm saying when the process gives you something, regardless of what happens, even failure leaves you with more than you had. You see this with people who are obsessed with a video game. They'll lose the same section over and over and keep going because the loop itself is fun. That's a powerful way to move through the world when you apply it to anything real. Supreme tier. Next we have, life happens to me. I'm putting this in you need help. Some things genuinely do happen to you, obviously. You can't, and you never will control everything. But if that becomes your whole worldview, you stop asking the questions that actually matter. You stop asking, why does this keep happening? What am I participating in? What could I actually change here? Going with the flow is fine if the flow is taking you somewhere worth going. But if it's not, you need to stop, look around, and start steering. Treating yourself like a passive object in your own life is just an excuse, dressed up as acceptance. You need help, dear. Next we have, I am special. I originally had this in mid, but after thinking about it more, I'll now put it in delusion. There's a version of this that's useful. Sometimes you need a little irrational confidence to follow a vision. Say something unpopular or attempt something that looks ridiculous before it works. I get that. But the way most people actually use this belief is to inflate their ego without backing it up. They think to themselves, people just don't understand me. My potential is too big to show yet. The failure was their fault. When you start thinking you're special, criticism starts looking like jealousy, and discipline starts feeling optional because your success feels inevitable. And that's where it rots. Potential without any evidence is just a story you're telling yourself. Delusion tier. Next, I am selfish. I'm putting this in delusion tier. Not because the trait doesn't exist, but maybe you genuinely do prioritize yourself too much. But turning it into an identity is the mistake. Once you say that's just who I am, you stop treating it as something to work on and start treating it as a personality. And beyond the moral stuff, it's not even a good strategy. People don't want to build with someone who makes everything transactional. They don't trust you. They don't open up to you. And eventually, they just stop dealing with you. Noticing selfish impulses in yourself is useful. Branding yourself around them is just dumb. So I'm putting it in delusion tier. I always bounce back. I'm putting this in supreme tier. And I want to be careful here. I don't mean you always recover what you lost. Sometimes you genuinely don't. The relationship doesn't come back. The opportunity is gone. The old version of your life is over. But that's not what this belief is really about. It's not, nothing can hurt me. It's more like, no matter what situation I end up in, I'm going to keep looking for the good. I'm going to keep adapting. I'm not going to let whatever happened have the final word. When someone loses the belief that they can ever improve their situation again, almost everything gets darker. But if you can hold on to even a quiet version of, this is bad, but I'm not done, then it becomes powerful. And sometimes that's all hope actually is, just refusing to close the door. Hence why it's in supreme tier. And lastly, we have, I just accept myself. I'm putting this in, oh man, I can't decide between mid and delusion tier, but I guess it's delusion tier, and I'll explain why. If you just accept whatever is there, what if it ends up just hurting you, Like we all have flaws. Does that mean that you shouldn't try to improve them? It's good to always see yourself as someone with value, regardless of anything. But to just accept your flaws and not try to improve anymore, then that's when it becomes delusion. So that's the list. The pattern is pretty consistent. The beliefs that are ranked highest are the ones that make you more honest and more resilient. The ones at the bottom either protect your ego, hand your peace over to things you can't control, or let you off the hook for things you should actually be working on. Do you agree with my list? If not, which one do you disagree with most? Feel free to drop it in the comments.